Hello and welcome to Daily Reflection with Aneel Aranha. Today is the 3rd of November 2020. We're going to reflect on Luke 14:15 to 24. Listen. One of the dinner guests, on hearing what Jesus said to him, "Blessed is anyone who will eat bread in the kingdom of God." Then Jesus said to him, "Someone gave a great dinner and invited many. At the time for the dinner, he sent his slave to say to those who had been invited, 'Come, for everything is ready now.' But they all alike began to make excuses. The first said to him, 'I have bought a piece of land and I must go out and see it. Please accept my regrets.' Another said, 'I have bought 5 yoke of oxen and I'm going to try them out. Please accept my regrets.' Another said, 'I have just been married and therefore I cannot come.' So the slave returned and reported this to his master. Then the owner of the house became angry and said to his slave, 'Go out at once into the streets and lanes of the town and bring in the poor, the crippled, the blind and the lame.' And the slave said, 'Sir, what you have ordered has been done and there is still room.' Then the master said to the slave, 'Go out into the roads and lanes and compel people to come in so that my house may be filled. For I tell you, none of those who are invited will taste my dinner.'" The Gospel of the Lord. The parable of the great dinner is one that Jesus tells while he is attending a dinner himself. Jesus has been invited to the home of a Pharisee, very brave man this, and as people are taking their seats, he notices that many of them are trying to choose places of honor at the table. The real honor is being invited to the dinner, but they don't seem to get that. So Jesus tells them a parable, concluding by saying that all those who exalt themselves will be humbled, and those who humble themselves will be exalted. We looked at this a few days ago. YouTube viewers will find links to the reflection everywhere, here, up, down. Jesus also notices that everybody seated at the dinner table belongs to the upper echelons of society. So he tells them that when they give a banquet to invite the poor, the crippled, the lame, the blind, and they would be blessed. Although these people cannot repay you, he says, you will be repaid at the resurrection of the righteous. In response, one of the guests said, "Blessed is anyone who will eat bread in the kingdom of God." And this was Jesus' cue for another parable, the one we heard today. He tells them about a great dinner being hosted and invitations sent out to many people. At the time of the dinner, he sends out his slaves to tell them the dinner is about to start. But they start making excuses, and the most bizarre ones imaginable. One says, "I bought 5 yoke of oxen and I'm going to try them out." Which idiot will buy oxen before trying them out? And who tries oxen at supper time anyway? Another says, "I have bought a piece of land and I must go out and see it." Really? You buy land without having first seen it? Yet another says, "I have just been married and therefore I cannot come." Hey, take your wife and go, Charlie. But we know these are all excuses, and pathetic ones at that. The point Jesus was trying to make is that people were being invited to eat bread in the kingdom of God, just like one of the guests at the dinner remarked. However, people were refusing the invitation for the lamest of reasons. Why? Did they not realize that they were being invited to the banquet of heaven? Did they not realize how stupid their excuses were and consequently how offensive? Did they not realize how their refusal would anger their host? Did they not realize that there would be consequences? These questions are really for us. Do we realize that we are being invited to the banquet of heaven? Are we making idiotic excuses to get out of accepting it? Do we realize how idiotic they are? Do we realize the penalty for refusal, especially because God paid a huge price to ensure we could get into the feast, the life of his Son? These parables may have been addressed to the Pharisees of his time, but we realize how closely we have begun to resemble the Pharisees. We would be very wise to pay heed. Otherwise, others will make it to the banquet because God will not let his feast lack guests because some of us spurn it. Something to think about today. God bless you.